Day and his wife, Deborah Ray, are North Carolina residents, American citizens. They originally came from Argentina. They voted for Donald Trump in 2024, and they agreed with his immigration policy. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that their 31-year-old son, Augustin Gentile, has been detained in a Georgia ICE facility for about a month. Their son was a toddler when they immigrated to the U.S. He is a green card holder. He is a permanent legal U.S. resident. He also is a parent. He has 2 children, a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. Regarding her vote for Trump, Deborah, his mother, told the AJC, quote, "He didn't say he was going to do this. He said he was going to go after all the criminals who came illegally. We feel betrayed, tricked." Martin, Augustin's father, said that they have had to lie to their grandchildren to try to shield them from the truth about where their father is. He said, quote, "They ask, 'Where is my daddy?' And we can't tell them daddy is in jail. We had to lie to them because we don't want to hurt them." So here's why Augustin was arrested, why he's sitting in a detention facility. Back in 2020, he was convicted in the state of California for a misdemeanor charge of infliction of injury. He got 5 years probation. Ultimately, it was reduced down to 3 years, and the case has been closed since 2023. Well, in February, he went abroad, and when he flew back into the U.S., Gestapo confiscated his green card and they took his Argentine passport. They ordered him to report to a Customs and Border Protection office in North Carolina on April 14th. Augustin showed up and they detained him. Then they transferred him to the Georgia ICE facility. His parents have filed a petition with the court, but the earliest that he might be seen in immigration court is May 12th. So by that time, he would have been in lockup for 2 months if they don't try to put him in a freaking El Salvador prison, right? Needless to say, this couple now regrets voting for Trump. They told the AJC that, of course, they wouldn't have voted for Trump if they knew what he was planning to do. Where the hell were these people during his first term? Do they have amnesia?
This might be a hot take, but if you see someone in public that has a Maga hat, literally don't acknowledge it. I was in Chicago last week and some guy came up to me in a grocery store and he asked me where the avocados are. He was wearing a Maga hat, literally didn't look at it. And I said, "Back right corner, have a nice day." Kept walking. And he goes, wait, I have something else to ask you. And I turn around and he just stared at me like he wanted me to say something about his hat. Like he was wanting the attention. So don't give it to them. At this point, there's no election going on. They simply want to engage you so that you argue with them so that they can have this exciting interaction. Because a lot of them don't see politics as dealing with people's lives. They see it as a hypothetical culture war that they are winning right now, and they want to flaunt that they are winning, that they are being protected by the current administration. So absolutely do not give into that. Simply pretend like you don't see it. They might touch their hat, they might fiddle with it, they might point to it, they might even say, "What do you think of my hat?" Say nothing. Just keep walking. It's genuinely like a toddler. When a toddler is engaging in bad behavior, ignore them. Do not give them attention. Don't feed into it. Simply say, "Hey, I'm not going to talk about that right now. Don't behave that way." And then it stops.
Well, it finally happened, and it's happening fast. I'm getting a lot of messages from people who say, "I'm a Republican, I'm a Trump supporter, but I want labor rights." And they're asking me for help with the problem they're having now that Trump is really attacking the federal workforce, and they're scared. The hypocrisy. How dare you come to me for help when you have spent the past 12 years of Trump's career violently and viciously attacking anyone who doesn't look like you, violently and viciously attacking labor rights when every expert in the world warned you. And you mocked us. You still mock us when we tell you that what's happening is dangerous. But now that it's finally affected you, as we warned you it would, now you think you deserve special treatment? It's kind of like that guy who posted about not paying taxes and how proud he was not to pay taxes. And then the fires happened, and he was desperately calling for private firefighters to save his house, but no one else's. I'm angry at you. I'll probably still help you because I believe in this, but I'm angry at you.
It's Joe from Georgia, so voting has consequences, and those voters in the states of Kentucky and West Virginia are finding out that their vote, which, by the way, was overwhelmingly for Donald Trump in 2024, is coming back to haunt them. and the haunting is in the coal industry. The coal industry's had a tough time for decades. However, they had seen a new revival in that because they had a huge buyer in the world. Guess who? China. China is the biggest consumer of coal in the world, and they were buying it from companies out of West Virginia and Kentucky, where thousands of people are employed in the coal industry to make their living. Well, those people have been voting staunchly Republican for years. Well, in this instant, they are finally finding out that maybe they made a mistake. And not maybe, because the coal industry, once again, the largest consumer in the world of coal is China. The tariffs have made it to where China will not buy American coal. And without buying American coal, you're putting tens of thousands of people out of work in Kentucky and West Virginia. So once again, voting has consequences, and you're finding out in Kentucky and West Virginia. Good luck.
Mega regret. It is really, really happening. And I grew up in rural Iowa, just 1 hour away from Omaha, Nebraska. Both of my children live in Nebraska. Most of my family are in Nebraska right now. And so this is a really big deal for me. But you guys voted for this. And I don't want to go through the whole thing that everybody else is doing. What I want to talk about is decency. So when I grew up, and probably the same thing for boomers, if you broke something, you made up for it. So let's say you go borrow your neighbor's ladder and it breaks. You go buy them a new ladder, your wife bakes them a cake or a pie, and you express your sorry several times, and you feel bad. So now your vote, because you did not pay attention the last time or read Project 2025 or anything to point you in the right direction and show you what exactly was going to happen, this is the vote that you made. And so I see many of you coming on here crying fake little tears, but I have zero sympathy for you, because what are you actually doing now? Are you protesting in any way? What are you doing besides trying to get other people to feel bad for you? It's going to require action, and it's going to require you to really go out and mobilize and make a difference now, because you are the one who did the thing. It was you. You made the vote. It's affecting you now, just like it affects the rest of us. So what are you going to do? I'm really anxious to hear what you're going to do to make up for it. We are not the ones that did this. So again, how are you going to make it right? The people in the Midwest it's very, very important to make up for your wrong. So what are you doing to make up for your wrong? Write it down. What action, what mobilization are you doing? This is really the only answer now. I don't want to hear any more tears or any more bullshit. What are you doing? Thank you.
Fucked around with your vote? Now it's time you found out. Am I the asshole for cutting off my sons financially after they voted for Trump? I, 52 male, have two sons, Isaac, 22 male, and John, 20 male. My wife and I have always leaned left politically, and we've raised our kids to value equality, compassion, and critical thinking. We've had countless family discussions about politics and the impact of policies on people's lives. So you can imagine my shock when I found out after this last election that both of my sons voted for Trump. It came out during a casual family dinner when I asked, "So, who'd you guys vote for?" expecting them to either dodge the question or name one of the candidates aligned with our values. Isaac shrugged and said, "Trump. His policies just make the most sense right now." John chimed in, "Yeah, I mean, he's about protecting the economy. People like us need someone who gets that." I stared at them, stunned. "People like us?" I asked. "Boy, you've never paid for a single tank of gas, let alone rent or tuition. What exactly do you mean by that?" Isaac rolled his eyes. Dad, I'm studying business. Trump's pro-business. It's not that deep. It's plenty deep, I snapped. You're backing someone who's gutted protections for the environment, undermined health care, and actively targeted marginalized communities. John shook his head. You're just looking at the negatives. He's strong on immigration and keeping jobs here. The conversation spiraled into a heated debate. I couldn't understand how they, having grown up with every advantage I could provide, could support someone who champions policies that harm so many people. That night I thought about how much my wife and I had sacrificed to give them opportunities. I worked extra hours to cover their tuition so they wouldn't have student loans. I paid for their gas, car insurance, and even groceries. And this is what they choose to do with that privilege? A few days later, I told them my decision. If you want to support Trump's policies, you should also live by them, I said. From now on, you'll need to cover your own tuition, rent, and living expenses. Maybe then you'll understand the real-world impact of the policies you are endorsing. Isaac was furious. Are you serious, Dad? You're just cutting us off because we disagree with you politically. It's not about disagreement, I said firmly. It's about accountability. You voted for someone who's against student loan forgiveness, so take out loans. You support someone who doesn't believe in raising the minimum wage, so get a job that pays what it pays and figure it out. John looked hurt. You're being petty. This isn't how you change someone's mind. This isn't about changing your mind, I replied. It's about giving you a dose of reality. FAFO ain't just some cool hashtag you and your little friends use. It means there are consequences to your actions. Political choices have consequences. You're adults now. It's time to act like it. You fucked around with your vote. Now it's time you found out. My wife thinks I'm being too harsh. She worries this will damage our relationship with them long term. She said, they're young. They're still figuring out their beliefs. Beliefs have consequences, I told her. They made a choice. Now they'll learn what that choice means. Some of my friends agree with me, saying it's a fair wake-up call. Others think I'm letting politics come between family and being unnecessarily cruel. So, am I the asshole for cutting off my sons financially because of their political choices? You know, you got a good point. I don't think you're the asshole. I think you're going to let them find out what they fucked around with, their vote. And voting has consequences.
Line, Maga. First you were okay with them deporting children. Then it was okay with children with cancer. Now, children that are U.S. citizens is okay. Well, today I wake up to a U.S. combat Marine that served in Iraq, fought for this country in Iraq, is now deported and detained in El Salvador. Where is your line? This makes no fucking sense.
For Trump, and now I will deal with the aftermath of the tariffs. I compared 2024 first quarter to 2025 first quarter. I am down 70%. I'm not willing to say that that's due to the decisions of the administration yet, because my business does run in cycles. When it comes to the items that I import directly from China, like the pens, pencils, coffee mugs, keychains, calculators, that's all been affected immediately. I also had a quote for rubber ducks that I was working on, 5,000 rubber ducks. And my unit cost went from below 30 cents to just below 50 cents overnight. Consequently, that order of ducks is on hold. I also have 10,000 poker chips on hold. I have 2,000 hats on hold. This is all merchandise I could be selling right now. Yes, I do have some investments that are down, which is affecting me on the personal side. Now we're not sure which direction we want to go.
Having a bad day, it sometimes helps to find a story about dumbass Trump voters who are now finding out just how stupid it was to have voted for that criminal. And I came across a story from NPR just now. Here's the headline. A Maryland town wanted Trump to cut waste. Now it's a target. And when I saw this headline, I thought, oh, this has got to be a town in Western Maryland. And it is. It is a town called Emmitsburg, which looks to be, I looked at the map, it is a stone's throw from Pennsylvania. And if you aren't familiar with Pennsylvania, I lived there for a while. If you get outside of the cities, which is most of the land area of Pennsylvania is outside of the cities. It's a very rural state, big state. You might as well be in Alabama. I mean, it is hardcore MAGA. Anyway, so it's no surprise that this town is close to Pennsylvania. Let me read some of this article for you. Frank Davis saw a lot of waste during his decades in the federal government. In November, he voted for Donald Trump to get rid of it. So far, Davis likes a lot of what he has seen. Quote, "I'm probably going to get shot for this, but he is doing what he said he was going to do," says Davis, who serves as mayor of his town of about 3,000 people in western Maryland, just south of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So, Mr. Davis here, Frank, is mayor of Emmitsburg. In March, the Trump administration suddenly canceled in-person classes at the National Fire Academy here, which trains the United States firefighters. Not only is the academy a big part of Emmitsburg's identity, but it also helps drive the local economy. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good, especially if you're mayor. Quote, "It will change my outlook to say that they're not being fair," says Davis. Actually, did I skip something here? I did. Let me go back. Davis says the administration is reviewing the academy's operations, and he is hopeful it will restore classes. If not, he says, he'll see the administration somewhat differently. Quote, "It will change my outlook to say that they're not being fair," says Davis, who also serves as emergency medical services captain at the local firehouse known as the Vigilant Hose Company. Quote, "They're just going in to cut and not caring what they cut." Well, you know, Frank, where he says here, "It will change my outlook to say they're not being fair," how is it that they're not being fair? Oh yeah, I know. Because now they're cutting something that you benefit from. That's why it's not fair. If Trump was cutting things that only affected and hurt other people, you'd be all for it, right, Frank? Mayor Frank? You'd be all for that, as long as it's not you who is getting screwed. Typical selfish MAGA. Emmitsburg voted overwhelmingly for President Trump in November. NPR interviewed about 24 people here. Almost all of them voted for Trump, and many said his plans to cut federal spending were a key attraction. Now they say they are puzzled as to why the administration would cancel national training for firefighters. Why would they do that? We voted for him to cut, but why is he cutting this?
FAFO season continuing, like they say, voting has consequences, elections has consequences. How you vote for somebody, it has consequences. And these are the consequences that people are literally feeling it right now. Unfortunately, it's painful. Unfortunately, so many people are suffering right now. I know there are some people who are literally losing their mortgages. I know there are some people who have literally lost their jobs. I know there are some people right now, they are suffering. They are having a difficult time paying their bills. They're living paycheck to paycheck. Others even have become homeless as a result of these new administration policies. And these are the consequences. FAFO season continues. It's not just about a hashtag. This is the reality of how most American people right now, they're currently living. So many videos are being done on social media where people are literally crying and they're saying, "Oh my God, I'm losing my insurance. I don't know how I'm gonna survive." Other people have lost their jobs. Other people right now, they're saying they're struggling even to pay their bills. And others even they're saying they're farmers, they are like having difficulty, just to manage their farms because there are no workers anymore. And all these are the consequences of how people voted during the general election. Yes, voting has consequences. It's not about watching TV and say, "Oh, I'm gonna vote the left or the right side." No, it's about choosing somebody who has your best interests at heart. And these are the results. Some people right now, they're regretting and they're wishing they can turn back the clock. There's some people right now who are like, "You know what, I don't care." But at the end of the day, the reality is people are suffering right now. So what are people supposed to do? Do better. Come up with your own research. Come up with the right, correct information so that when the next elections come in, you vote for the right person who has your best interest at heart. This is a learning for everybody who is suffering right now. This is like they had, you know what they say, these are the consequences. Sometimes it's painful, but you have to swallow the pill. Yeah, this is it. I don't know about what you think, but at the end of the day, this is the pill that people are swallowing. It's bitter, yes. The consequences painful to swallow, yes. But at the end of the day, this is like a learning lesson. So you do your part right now. Do your research. Learn from this, and then come the next election, do better. Choose wisely. Choose for somebody who has your best interest at heart. Okay? Don't just listen the media. Don't just listen the newspaper. Don't just listen, your next door neighbor, what is he or she saying. When it comes to voting, you need to do your part. You need to do your due diligence. You need to do your research. You need to choose for somebody who has your best interest at heart. It's not about saying, oh, I'm voting for this person because he said, I'm gonna do mass deportation of undocumented migrants, so it won't affect me. And now you're going on social media crying and say, oh, this new policy has affected me. It shows you are biased. It shows that you thought it's okay for someone else to be affected but not you. It doesn't work that way. Do your research. Know who you're voting for. Know your P's and Q's. Choose for somebody who has your best interest at heart. That's what you need to do, because right now, to be honest, Americans are suffering. Right now, so many people are literally wishing they can turn back the clock, but unfortunately, time has passed. You have chosen the president. You have to wait for the next 5 years down the line, and then you vote for the next president of America. But for now, you have to swallow that pill. It's bitter, yes, but at the end of the day, this is the reality. Like they say, FAFO season continue. Voting has consequences, and yes, this is the reality, and it's affecting so many people's lives in America. What do you think about this video? Let me know.